Hey there. Welcome to your personalized deep dive. Today we're exploring something you're clearly interested in,
Okay.
the connection between adult autism and love languages. We'll be taking a close look at this article from Cheap ABA
Okay.
called Adult Autism and Love Languages: Why Your Love Language is a Trauma Response.
Right.
Now, this title really jumped out at me.
Yeah.
The idea that how we express and experience love could be rooted in past trauma,
Mm-hmm.
especially for autistic adults. That's a powerful concept, and I'm eager to unpack it with you.
Absolutely. It's a fascinating area where
Hold on.
psychology and personal experience intersect.
So before we dive into the trauma aspect, let's do a super quick recap
Sure.
of those 5 love languages Dr. Gary Chapman laid out,
Yeah.
just to make sure we're all on the same page. You've probably heard of these before,
Mhm.
but sometimes a refresher helps.
Definitely. They can be deceptively simple on the surface,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of depth
Okay.
to how they play out in real life.
So first up, words of affirmation.
Mm.
This is all about feeling loved through those verbal expressions,
Oh.
compliments, words of encouragement.
Yeah.
You know, hearing "I love you" or "You're doing great."
And this is where things get interesting. When we consider autism, imagine someone on the spectrum who might have experienced social misunderstandings or communication difficulties in the past. For them, those direct verbal affirmations could be incredibly powerful, almost like a lifeline
Wow.
of clarity and reassurance.
That's a really powerful way to think about it. It's not just about liking to hear nice things.
Mhm.
It's about those words filling a very specific need for emotional security and understanding.
Exactly. Then we have acts of service. This isn't just about someone doing the dishes. It's about feeling loved when someone takes actions to make your life easier or shows care through practical help.
And thinking about how this might tie back to autism, would it be fair to say that for someone on the spectrum who thrives on routines and predictability, those acts of service could be incredibly comforting? It's almost like creating a sense of order and stability in a world that can sometimes feel chaotic,
That's a great observation.
right?
It's not just about the act itself, it's about the message behind it. I care about you enough to ease your burdens and create a sense of safety in your world.
It's almost like speaking a different kind of love language, one that resonates deeply with someone's specific needs and experiences. Okay. What about receiving gifts?
This one's all about feeling loved through tangible tokens of affection. Now, for someone who might have experienced loss or felt emotionally disconnected in the past, those gifts become more than just objects. They become symbols of a lasting connection, a tangible representation of love.
You know, I'm starting to see a pattern here. Each of these love languages can take on a deeper meaning
Yeah.
when we view them through the lens of potential past experiences, especially for autistic adults
Mm-hmm.
who might be navigating the world in a different way. What about quality time?
Yeah. Quality time is all about feeling loved when someone gives you their undivided attention, engages in meaningful conversations, or simply enjoys shared activities. It's that feeling of being truly seen and understood.
And for someone who has struggled with social connections or felt misunderstood, that sense of deep connection during quality time could be incredibly healing, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
It's like filling a void.
It's about meeting that deep human need for belonging and connection, something that might have been particularly challenging for autistic individuals. And that brings us to physical touch.
Yeah, this one seems particularly complex,
Yeah.
especially when we consider how sensory sensitivities
Yeah.
can be a big part of the autistic experience.
Absolutely. For some people, physical touch can be incredibly grounding and reassuring. It's a source of comfort and connection. But for others, especially those with sensory sensitivities, touch can be overwhelming, even triggering. It might evoke negative memories or simply feel too intense.
So it's like a double-edged sword, a powerful form of communication that can either bring immense comfort
Right.
or trigger a sense of unease.
Right.
I can definitely see how past experiences, especially those related to touch, could shape how someone responds to physical touch as a love language. This is so insightful. It's like we're uncovering these hidden layers of meaning behind something as seemingly simple as a love language.
Exactly. And the more we understand these nuances, the more compassionately we can navigate our relationships.
So true. You know, at the start of this deep dive, I was mostly thinking about romantic relationships. But what you're saying applies to all kinds of connections, right?
Absolutely. Think about family dynamics, friendships, even professional relationships. Understanding how someone expresses and receives love can be invaluable in any context.
This idea of love languages as windows into someone's past experiences is fascinating.
Right.
What practical steps can we take to apply this knowledge,
Mm.
especially when thinking about autism?
Well, the article really emphasizes the importance of self-reflection. It encourages us to take the time to think about our own preferred love language, like what truly makes you feel loved and appreciated, and then to ask ourselves, is this just a personal preference, or could it be connected to something deeper? Maybe even a way of coping with past experiences.
That's such a valuable exercise.
Yeah.
And I bet it's even more powerful if you're neurodivergent. Because if you're on the spectrum and you've always felt a bit different, maybe those deep-seated needs for specific types of affection make more sense now.
Exactly. It's about understanding the why behind those preferences. And that's where journaling can be a helpful tool, writing down your thoughts and feelings about your love language and how it might connect to your past can reveal insights you might not have realized otherwise.
I can see that. Sometimes simply putting pen to paper can help us connect those dots in our minds.
Absolutely. And then the article stresses open communication in relationships, sharing your love language with your partner or loved ones, and having honest conversations about how past experiences might have shaped your needs and preferences.
Now, I know this can be a difficult conversation to have, but wouldn't that kind of vulnerability lead to a deeper level of understanding?
Definitely. It's about saying, hey, this is why physical touch is so important to me. It's not just a whim. It's connected to my need for grounding and reassurance. Or words of affirmation mean the world to me because they help me feel secure and understood, especially in social situations that can be challenging for me.
It's like giving your loved ones a roadmap to your emotional world,
Yeah.
right? And for someone on the spectrum, that could be so valuable in bridging those communication gaps. That can sometimes happen.
Precisely. And for those who may need a bit more support in navigating these complexities, seeking professional guidance from a therapist, specializing in trauma and autism could be incredibly beneficial.
Right, because sometimes it's helpful to have that neutral, supportive space
Right.
to explore these sensitive topics and develop healthier relationship patterns.
Exactly. A therapist can help you unpack those past experiences, understand how they might be influencing your present, and guide you in communicating your needs effectively.
So pulling all this together, what would you say is the key takeaway for our listener, especially given their interest in autism and love languages?
The key takeaway is that our love languages, especially for autistic adults, can be much more than just surface-level preferences. They can be deeply intertwined with our personal histories, shaped by experiences that have left their mark on how we give and receive love. And recognizing this connection can be incredibly empowering.
It's like we're moving beyond those simple labels of words of affirmation or quality time and delving into the rich tapestry of human experience.
Exactly. That shapes those preferences. And this understanding can be transformative, both for our self-awareness and for the quality of our relationships.
You know, we keep talking about how important self-reflection is, but if someone is listening to this and they're thinking, okay, this all makes sense, but I don't even know where to begin with self-reflection, what advice would you give them?
That's a great question. I'd say start small. Don't feel like you have to unravel your entire life story right away. Maybe just take a few minutes each day to reflect on a specific interaction you had with someone you care about. Ask yourself.
Oh, I love this. It's like creating a little self-awareness ritual.
Exactly. And as you do this consistently, you'll start to notice patterns in your own behavior and your emotional responses. You might even have those aha moments where things suddenly click into place and you gain a deeper understanding of why certain expressions of love are so important to you.
I can see that. It's like we're training our minds to become more attuned to those subtle cues in ourselves and in our interactions with others.
Precisely. And remember, self-reflection is a journey, not a destination. It's about being curious and compassionate with yourself as you explore these deeper layers of your being.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel like we've really gone beyond the surface level of love languages and uncovered a whole new dimension of understanding.
It's amazing how much we can learn about ourselves and others when we dig a little deeper.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the article we've been discussing. It's from Cheap ABA, a website that's all about providing resources and information related to autism.
Yes, and they have a ton of valuable content on their site. I'd highly recommend checking it out if you're interested in exploring these topics further.
We'll definitely include a link in the show notes for you. So to bring this all home, is there a final thought-provoking question we can leave our listener with? Something to ponder as they continue their own journey? of self-discovery?
I think the question that keeps coming back to me is, could understanding your love language as a potential trauma response lead to greater self-awareness and even more fulfilling relationships?
Wow, that's powerful. It really challenges us to look inward and consider how our past experiences might be shaping our present, especially in the realm of love and connection.
And remember, this isn't about dwelling on the past or feeling limited by it. It's about using this knowledge to empower yourself, to communicate your needs more effectively, and to build relationships that are truly authentic and meaningful.
It's like turning those past experiences into stepping stones for growth and deeper connection. Well, on that note, I want to thank you so much for guiding us through this deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. I always enjoy these conversations, especially when we get to explore such important and often overlooked aspects of the human experience.
And to our listener, thank you for joining us. On this journey of exploration, we hope you found it insightful and maybe even a little bit transformative. Remember, self-discovery is an ongoing process, so keep asking questions, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep loving in ways that feel true and authentic to you.